This is Video's Jordan podcast. Now streaming Sherlock Holmes. Scandal in Bohemia.
In previous episode, as per plan, Sherlock Holmes set the false alarm of house on fire, and in that chaos, he found the secret place where Irene kept the photograph. And he now calls King Wilhelm of Bohemia to inform that the case is solved. He has got the photograph.
There is no reason why she should interfere with your Majesty's plan. It is true, and yet, well, I wish she had been of my own station. I don't know why, but I wish. What a queen she would have made. I wish she was my queen. He relapsed into a moody silence, which was not broken until we drew up in Serpentine Avenue. The door of Briony Lodge was open, and an elderly woman stood up upon the step. She watched us with the sardonic eyes as we stepped from the brougham. Master Sherlock Holmes, I believe, said she. I am Mr. Holmes, answered my companion, looking at her with a questioning and rather startled gaze. Indeed, my mistress told me that you were likely to call. She left this morning with her husband by the 5:15 train for Charing Cross for the continent. What? Sherlock Holmes staggered back, white with chagrin and surprise. Do you mean that she has left England? Never to return, Mr. Holmes, never to return. And the papers, Holmes? Asked the king hoarsely. And the papers? All is lost. We shall see. He pushed past the servant and rushed into the drawing room, followed by the king and myself. The furniture was scattered about in every direction, with dismantled shelves and open drawers, as if the lady had hurriedly ransacked them before her flight. Holmes rushed at the bellboard, tore back a small sliding shutter, and plunging in the hand, pulled out a photograph and a letter. The photograph was of Irene Adler herself in evening dress. The letter was superscribed to Sherlock Holmes, ESQ, to be left till called for. My friend tore it upon, and we all three read it together. It was stated at midnight of the preceding night and ran this way. My dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, you really did it very well. You took me in completely until after the alarm of fire. I had not a suspicion, but then, when I found out how I had betrayed myself, I began to think. I had been warned against you months ago. I had been told that if the king employed an agent, it would certainly be you, and your address had been given to me. Yet, with all this, you made me reveal that what you wanted to know. Even after I became suspicious, I found it hard to think. I found it hard to think evil of such a dear, kind old. I slept at Baker Street that night, and we were engaged upon our toast and coffee in the morning when the King of Bohemia rushed into the room. You have really got it? Oh my God, you have really got it, he cried, grasping Sherlock Holmes by either shoulder and looking eagerly into his face. Not yet, King. But you have hopes, do you? Yeah, I have hopes. Then come, I am all impatience to gone. I am all impatience to gone. We must have a cab. No, no. My brougham is waiting. Then that will simplify matters. We descended and started off once more for Briony Lodge. Irene Adler, I have to discuss something with you, King. I have to tell you something, King. Irene Adler is married. Married? She is married? When? Yesterday. But to whom? Whom is she married? To an English lawyer named Norton, Geoffrey Norton. But she could not love him. I am in hopes that she does. And why in hopes? Holmes, why in hopes? Because it would spare your majesty all fear of future annoyance. If the lady loves her husband, she does not love your majesty. If she does not love your majesty, clergyman. But you know, I have been trained as an actress myself. Male costume is nothing new to me. I often take advantage of the freedom which it gives. I sent John, the coachman, to watch you, ran upstairs, got into my walking clothes, as I called him, and came down just as you departed. Well, I followed you to your door, so made sure that I was really an object of interest to the celebrated Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Then I rather imprudently wished you good night. I rather imprudently wished you good night and started off the temple to see my husband. We both thought the best resource was flight, when pursued by so formidable an antagonist. So you will be the nest empty when you call tomorrow as to photograph. Your client may rest in peace. I love and am loved by a better man than he. The king may do what he will without hindrance from one whom he has cruelly wronged. I keep it only to safeguard myself and to preserve a weapon which will always secure me from any steps which he might take in the future. I leave a photograph which he might care to possess, and I remain, dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, very truly yours, Irene Norton, nee Adler. What a woman! Oh, what a woman! Cried the King of Bohemia. When we had all three read this epistle, did I not tell you how quick and resolute she was? Would she not have made an admirable queen? It is not a pity that she was not of my level. It is not a pity, Holmes. From what I have seen of the lady, she seems indeed to be on a very different level to your majesty, said Holmes gloomily. I am sorry that I have not been able to bring your majesty's business to a more successful conclusion. On the contrary, my dear sir, on the contrary, nothing could be more successful. I know that her worth is involatile. The photograph is now as safe as if it were in the fire. I am glad, your majesty, to hear. I am glad to hear your majesty say so. I am glad to hear that, your majesty. I am immensely indebted to you. Pray tell me in what way I can reward you. This ring. He slipped an emerald snake ring from his finger and held it out upon the palm of his hand. Your majesty has something which I should value even more highly. said Holmes. You have but to name it. You have but to name it. This photograph. This photograph. The king stared at him in amazement. Irene's photograph? Irene's photograph? He cried. Certainly, if you wish it. I thank your majesty. Then there is no more to be done in the matter. I have the honor to wish you a very good morning. He bowed and turning away without observing the hand which the king had stretched out to him, he set off in my company for his chambers. And that is how a great scandal threatened to affect the kingdom of Bohemia, and how the best plans of Mr. Sherlock Holmes were beaten by a woman's wit. He used to make merry over the cleverness of women, but I have not heard him to do it of late. And when he speaks of Irene Adler, or when he refers to her photograph, it is always under the honorable title of the woman. And this is how the great scandal of Bohemia was solved. Hi, this was last episode of Scandal in Bohemia from the series Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. We will be back with new series from Adventures of Sherlock Holmes in coming time. Till then, stay tuned, subscribe to Create Your Use podcast on all podcast platforms. Make sure you place a review. Your reviews are really important. We will be back soon with new from Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Stay tuned, stay safe. Thank you.